Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now if you follow Nitecore on social media, well by the way, if you don't, you probably should follow Nitecore on social media because you can see all of the new things that are coming about. And a while back they got in touch and asked if I'd like to have a look at one of their new flashlights. This is the EDC23. Now, I was previously a huge fan of the EDC25 and the EDC27, so when they showed me the newer form factor of this EDC23, something in me was just like, I have to have a look at this light. Now, just to be clear, I was just trying to think of the correct words for that then, but the words escaped me for a second. Just to clarify, that was probably what I was after. They've been able to send me a pre-production model so that I can have a go of this and I can test this out before it goes live. So rather than an unboxing and it coming with the literature that would normally come with this, I've just had some information. So what we'll do today is have a look at some of the information that I have on this, plus compare it to the EDC25 and 27, which I think will probably be useful, mainly because it does share a lot of the features of the EDC25. So it's more of a first impressions, but I think at this point, because I've probably absolutely ruined the intro, let's turn the camera around and let's take a closer look. Now, as mentioned, this is a pre-production version, so I'd open the box here and show you the things that come in it, but I don't have the box and the instructions that would normally come with it. Now, I have brought with me the EDC27 and the EDC25. So if you want to have a look at the kind of sort of things that you get with this, check out either of these pieces of content and you'll be able to see that. But generally you tend to find with Nitecore that they have a nice unboxing experience, I guess you would say. It comes in at roughly 110 millimeters by 30 millimeters wide, and at its widest point here at the top comes in at 18 millimeters. This is constructed from the same materials, the same build quality as the other two lights that we will be having a look at as well. It is incredibly tough, I will certainly say that about this. As far as the weight is concerned, I put this on my own weighing scales and this comes in at 101 grams. The size of this is just perfect. I mean, look, for EDC, this couldn't be any better. When this is in the pocket, because of this new form factor that we're seeing from a lot of lights now, it just disappears into your pocket. You just don't notice that it's there, which makes this an excellent everyday light. The weight as well, I think if you were concerned maybe about the weight of some of these aren't heavy lights by any stretch of the imagination. These aren't heavy lights, but just being able to reduce down the weight with the EDC23 again just means for everyday carry, it's just perfect in your pocket. As far as the battery is concerned on this, so you do get a charger with this. It's charged via USB Type-C. Here on the side, so I think we're just going to focus here on the side. Here is your charging port. All of the Nitecore charging ports are really well constructed. They're very tough, and I will say, so I've tested this with 7 different charging cables, and they all work perfectly with that. The battery on the inside of this, it does say here, so it is a 1500 milliamp hour battery, which I think for the size of this, because of the smaller form factor, it's still fine. You still get plenty of light from this. The LEDs that it uses, so here on the end you'll see that we have a dual LED, and then in the center here just at the bottom you also have a sensor which will ensure if this is within a certain proximity, if you try to turn this on it will then kick down. Mainly it's either on high or it's on turbo. It will kick that down so that if this is turned on in your pocket by accident, that it will drop that down, 1 so it doesn't burn out the sensors, and 2 so it doesn't set fire in your pocket. But it's using the new UIH LEDs, which again is really nice. The UHI LEDs use less less they use less electricity, they use less power to be able to power them, but they also produce a nicer, finer, more clear light as well, which again is great. Now, a lot of the things that we're looking at here are very similar to the EDC27. They're also very similar to the EDC25 as well. The differences between the EDC25 and the EDC27 mainly come down to slight changes in the build quality, the construction of the material that they're made from. The buttons at the end here are ever so slightly different. On the EDC27, these feel like metal buttons, although I'm not sure they are metal, but hopefully you'll be able to see there's a bit of a sheen to them there, whereas on the EDC25 here, they have kind of matte buttons. On the EDC25, they just have a single press, whereas on the EDC27, they have a two-stage button on here. So here with the special button, you can do half a press, which will put it onto turbo, or you can do a full press, which will put it onto the strobe mode. Although, you know, these all share similarities, the EDC23 really is more of a scaled down version of the EDC27. Now I'm just going to put the EDC25 to one side for a second. Now, having a look at these, having a look on the end here, they are roughly the same. The EDC25, so I'm just trying to get these so I can get these on the end, so hopefully you'll be able to see. The EDC27 is maybe a millimeter thinner here at the end, but I'm guessing some of that may be down to the electronic circuitry and the amount of room that they have in here. The EDC23, I'm struggling with my numbers today, so apologise if I'm trying to think whilst trying to talk. The EDC23, this, as I mentioned, this has a 1,500 milliamp hour battery, whereas the EDC27 has a 1,700 milliamp hour battery. Now, after the actual look of the buttons, the functionality between these two lights is very similar. So I'm just going to put the 27 down for a second, and let's zoom in a little bit closer so that you can see this LCD display here. Now, this display will give you information about the light, its functions, battery life, all of that sort of stuff as you're going through the UI on here. So going through the light modes themselves, you can do a half press, which will give you instant access to the low or the moonlight mode, which is 15 lumens, or you can keep it on there. So if I do a long press, I know this is on the moonlight mode. It said there 15 lumens, and I've got roughly 39 hours worth of light out of this. I can then do half presses on this one here on the left hand side, and you'll see that it will now cycle through. So level 2, this is 65 lumens, level 3 or medium is 200 lumens, and then level 4, which is high, this is 1100 lumens. If I then press the mode button again, it will circle back round through to the moonlight mode. To turn it off, rather than doing a half press, so if I do a half press here, you'll see it cycling. If I want to turn it off, I can do a full press, and that will turn off the light. Super useful. I'm surprised that more companies haven't put these LCD displays on here so that you know exactly how much light you have left in here. Now, when you use the special mode, which is your instant access through to your turbo or through to your strobe mode, you get the same. So if I do a half press on here so that we're on turbo. Let's do this properly. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look in the screen to do this. So if I do a half press on here, you can see 250 lumens. I've pressed it too far. There we have 2,500 lumens, and you can see it's now, that's where it kicks down. So when you look on the manufacturer's website, and hopefully you can see it's now going back up again. So if you look on the manufacturer's website, it doesn't really give you any information on when the kick down is, because instead it all depends on the internal temperature of the light itself. So it's now gone up. So if I wanted to have this on turbo for the full amount of time, it will now reset that. If I was to, so now it's just kicked down. if I was to do this halfway, so that you can't just spam this, I'm going to do it again. Now it's just kicked down. Very intelligent way of being able to do this. Now I will say that this has got quite hot. What I'll do is I'll compare the two on here. So let's see if we can get this back up. And apologies about trying to get a least amount of glare on both of these screens at the same time, but as you can imagine, it is quite difficult. See, now it's still quite warm, so that you can see this last little bit where it's trying to get that down to 0. So now it's just got down to 0. As mentioned, so that you do get more light out of the EDC27, but the functionality on both of these, so if I do a half press on both without trying to get my hand close to the edge, I just took my finger off it then for a second, you can see those going down, and nearly just burnt my hand there. So very similar functionality. So now zoomed back out a bit, there's just a couple of things extra to mention on here. I know I mentioned how nicely this fits into your hand, but here on the side you have the same jimping. So this is the same on both the 27 and the 25. You have this jimping on the side, which is nice. It just gives you a good grip in the hand. There is a clip on this. I believe you can remove this if you want to, but I think with this being rather flush against it, it does sit in there really nice. I guess if you did remove it, so underneath here, I think this is used to help dissipate some of that heat. Whether it will affect that or whether it will make it easier or better, I don't know, but I think with this one, I certainly generally tend to keep my clip on. As far as deep pocket carry, it's not particularly deep pocket carry, so when you have this in your pocket, the clip, although it ends here, the actual bit where it sinks in that you'd have it, so it would just poke out the top of your pocket by maybe an inch or so, certainly not a large amount. One of the big things that is a difference between both of or all of these lights is you may have noticed that there is something missing specifically on these two that this one has that these don't, which is another reason why I think this is going to be really good for EDC, and that is this switch here on the side. So the other two lights have lockout functions on there where you have to hold one of the buttons down for a certain amount of time and it will lock it out. Then if you want to unlock it, you then have to, I think it's a press and then a long press, and then it will allow it to be unlocked. Whereas if you're in an emergency situation and you do need to use the strobe on there, to have to unlock that can be tricky. There is a level 1 lock which still allows this to work, and a level 2 lock, but it then gets tricky. This one, so much easier. There's your lock. This will lock out all of the functions on here. You just simply can't use them. This can't be turned on accidentally in your pocket. If you do think that you are in a fight or flight situation, if this is in your pocket, as you're taking it out of your pocket, you can undo this switch, which will now unlock it. You can have this in your hand. You can, pretend to be not paying attention, or secretly clear you are paying attention, so that if you then need to use strobe, you've got full instant access to strobe. There, you've now locked it, put it back in your pocket, and your day is done. I really do like this additional feature on here. Hopefully future editions of the 25 and 27 will have that on there as well, because I think this is one of the reasons that sets this light apart, other than the smaller size and form factor on here. I think this is an excellent addition that sets this apart from the two other lights. Now let's fast forward a few hours, let's come back down to the woods and see how this works in the dark. So we're out. Unfortunately it is raining. We have quite a bit of rain recently. But we'll go through the lumen modes on the EDC23. So whilst we're off, I'm going to do first mode, which is the ultra low or the moonlight mode, and this is 15 lumens. 15 lumens is great. You really can see a lot with 15 lumens. There's a tree there that's about 5 or 6 meters away. The next tree probably makes it up to about 10 meters. So being able to walk around with the battery on this, with this being the lowest mode, you'll get the most amount of light from here, but it's still a perfectly workable amount of light if you're wanting to use this whilst walking the dogs in the wood like this. We can then do a half press, which will then take us through the extra modes. So the next one up is the low mode. This is 65 lumens. So there's that tree again, which is a lot easier to be able to see now. And then the tree next to it. But now we can start to see trees a little bit further off. That's probably about, say, 12, 15 maybe so meters away. We can see Heidi's off in the woods over there as well. But yeah, 65 lumens on low does an awfully good job. Now another half press will then bump us up to medium. Medium then now is 200 lumens, which being able to see these trees, so there's that first one that we looked at. The second one, now that one that's off in the distance, is even easier to see, and now we can start to see further ones that are off a little bit more. I do apologize about this going out of focus. I think it might be from the rain that's coming down. After medium, I can then do another half press, which will bump us up to high, which is our 1100 lumens. And this does an awfully good job. I mean, the amount of light that this throws out. As far as warm spots, it does have a warm spot. You can see it there. The skirt on the side. So if I hold this out, 45 degrees to my left, 45 degrees to my right. It does have a reasonably defined skirt. I think because of the size of the light, as you can see that I'm turning around here, it's a flat at the bottom, so you do see that a little bit more so towards the bottom there. But with the 1100 lumens, it does a very good job of being able to flood the woods here with a lot of light. Even looking up into the canopy here, you can see that it's doing an awesome job at being able to show you that all up there. And then you can do a long press, which will then, which will then turn it off. There are also those special modes, so I can do a half press, and this will give me full access to the turbo of 2500 lumens. Now this will power down quite quickly. Hopefully you can see there, mainly because I've had that on high, so it's already reasonably warm. The intelligent circuitry within here will power it down a little bit quicker. So let's do it again. Now it is going down. Oh, I did a half full press there, but see, hopefully we can see there. If it's not quite in focus, but just about to come down, there's that kick down. But it still does allow us to use this light after it's kicked down from 2500 lumens. You can do a full press though, and that will give you instant access to the strobe. If this needs to be used for fight or flight, you can certainly incapacitate somebody with the light that this produces. But again, I think that it's just a really nice light compared to the others with the size that's on here. I'm currently on the low mode, which is 65 lumens. Just being able to walk around the woods here, I can see plenty of ahead of me. In fact, I can see Heidi off in the distance there having a play in the trees. But being able to walk like this through the woods, I can easily see 10 meters ahead of me. I can see any obstacles before I even get to them, and also off into the woods if I'm trying to find the dogs, and I don't know, maybe there's some deer or something that's just hiding away from me. But yes, really do like this EDC23. If, like me, you're already a fan of the EDC25 and 27, you will 100% like this. If you're wondering at this point, is it worth picking one up? I would definitely say yes. Now, I think there's a few lights that I've had a look at recently that, there have been slight variances in things or incremental increases from a version 3 to a version 4. I don't see this as an incremental increase whatsoever. These lights are excellent. I can't see anything wrong about these lights. However, if you're after something that has all of the same features, especially of the 25, now you don't get as many lumens from the 23 as you do with the 25, but it's still no slouch. If you need to use this in a fight or flight situation, having this in your face isn't going to be nice. But if you're after something that's just a smaller form factor, I think for EDC use, this is awesome. It really is a cracking little light. Now these have just gone live, So for some of the things that I've been trying to work out, that I've looked at, that were not as detailed in the literature that got sent to me, you will be able to find all of these details out today on the Nitecore website. So of course I'll leave a link below so that you can see more from them. I do also want to say a huge thank you to the team at Nitecore. I've worked with them for a while now, and I think, for full disclosure, it's also good at this point for me to point out I have a great relationship with them. If there was something that I didn't like about this, I have free license to illustrate or to, you know, communicate to you any of the things that I don't like about this, or any things that I would possibly change. And yeah, you know, I love these, and I love this as well. Yeah, it's a really good light. So of course, yes, I'll leave those links below. I'll also leave some of my social media links below so that you can see more from me here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander EDC. A few months back, no it wasn't, it was no, anyway, damn it. I always seem to do this. Whenever I come out to make some content that you need to look at my hands more, I always end up catching my thumb or cutting my finger on a bloody bramble bush or something. Honestly, I am a walking, talking, living example of Murphy's Law. I really am. That went smoothly, Randy. That's what 6.5 years of YouTube has skillfully trained you how to do and speak properly and eloquently. You wazzock. That's a strange angle of me. There's a lot. I get this a lot. A lot? I said a lot then. A lot of leaves falling from trees. Now I keep hearing the leaves behind me, and it sounds like somebody is walking up behind me stealthily. It's got my ninja senses twitching, but it's not. It's just leaves falling behind. Yeah. Interesting fact. The word ninja was originally a Moorlandese word. We had some people come over from Japan. I think it was like 300 AD, something like that. And you know, they saw a lot of the Moorlandese culture and decided to adopt the word ninja for, you know, the warriors and assassins that they had over there. So yeah, there you go. The more you know. Yeah. Moving on swiftly. I think this is coming out on a random day. I don't think this is coming out. This is coming out on a Monday. So I hope you all previously just had a good week. Yeah, or a good weekend. That's what I was meant to say. Yeah, and hope you have a productive week ahead of you as well. I can hear someone. But it isn't. It's a leaf.